Anna stood frozen, feeling a rush of shame and fury sweep through her. She had expected a special evening, a romantic dinner for her and her husband to celebrate their anniversary. But when she walked into the dimly lit restaurant, her heart sank. There, seated across the table, was another woman. The way her husband looked at that woman, smiling, leaning close, hurt more than words could say. And then he did it. He spoke to her, Anna, with contempt and coldness, right in front of the other woman. The sting of the words, laced with disrespect, cut deeper than any knife. Anna's mind whirled. She felt betrayed, humiliated. Not only had her husband insulted her, but he did it with that woman, his mistress, looking on. The restaurant seemed to spin around her. But Anna was no quiet, forgiving wife. She would not be a victim of his disgrace. She decided that any response must be quiet, but sharp. Smart, but still powerful. She pulled out her phone and typed a message, steadying herself. She invited the mistress into her own home, not to berate her, but to outthink her, to turn the tables in a way that would leave both husband and mistress reeling. She wanted to show strength, not drama. As Anna hit send, she felt a spark of something new: control, clarity, resolve. She knew the coming days would be tense. But she was ready. Anna sat in the back seat of the taxi, staring out the window. Lagos lights flashed by, blurred by the tears she refused to let fall. Her husband, David, had humiliated her in public. Not by accident, not in a slip of the tongue, but on purpose. The driver tried to make small talk, but Anna only nodded. Her mind was not in the car. Her heart replayed the scene. David's smirk, the other woman's smug smile, the waiter's awkward glance. Everyone saw it. Everyone knew. Anna clenched her fists. How did I allow this man to drag me so low? She thought of their years together, the sacrifices she made, the nights she stayed up to comfort him, the times she defended him in front of family. And this was her reward. By the time she reached home, her anger had burned into something stronger, a plan. Revenge was no longer about hurting him. It was about taking her dignity back. She would not fight with noise. She would fight with silence and precision. The next morning, Anna called her closest friend, Beezy. Beezy listened quietly as Anna poured out the story. When Anna finished, Beezy was silent for a long time. Anna, she finally said, if you fight this man with anger, he will only call you bitter. If you cry, he will say you are weak. But if you outsmart him, he will never recover. Anna knew Beezy was right. Tears would not change David. Shouting would only please him. She needed something more. Something clever. Beezy gave a slow smile. Does this woman even know you? Does she know you are more than just his wife? Let me tell you, Anna, when the enemy is in your house, you don't chase her with a broom. You open the door wider and let her drown in her shame. The words settled in Anna's mind. A new idea began to form. An idea dangerous, yet satisfying. Later that evening, Anna scrolled through David's phone. He had grown careless, leaving it on the table. One message thread glowed at her. It was the mistress. Her name was Clara. Anna read quickly. Sweet words, stolen promises, secret meetings. Each text was another stab in her chest. But Anna did not weep. Instead, she typed a message. Calm. Direct. Polite. Hello, Clara. This is Anna, David's wife. I would like to invite you for dinner. No fights, no insults. Just dinner. I think you will find it interesting. Her finger hovered over send. Then she pressed it. Minutes later, the reply came. Dinner? With you? All right. Let me know the time and place. Anna's lips curved into a tight smile. The trap had begun to set. The days before the dinner felt heavy. Anna moved around the house like a shadow. She cooked. She cleaned. She greeted David with a calm voice. She gave no hint of her plan. But at night, when David snored, Anna stared at the ceiling, imagining the look on his face when the truth came. Not a slap. Not a scream. But something far more powerful. She began to prepare the house. She ironed the best tablecloth. She polished the cutlery. She set aside the finest plates, the ones used only for Christmas guests. Everything had to be perfect. And then she made one final call. Not to Clara. Not to David. but to a number she found in Clara's profile, the number of Clara's husband. Her voice was calm when she spoke. "Good evening, sir. I think it's time we meet. My husband and your wife have given us something in common. Why don't you come to dinner this Friday?" The silence on the other end told Anna everything. The man would come. The stage was ready. Friday was drawing near. Anna wrote down the names in her small notebook. David, Clara, Clara's husband, and herself. For people, one table, one truth. She looked at the names again and again. Each one carried a different weight. David, the man who betrayed her. Clara, the woman who laughed at her pain. Clara's husband, the silent stranger who had no idea how much was being kept from him. And Anna, the woman everyone thought was weak. She smiled. Soon weakness would turn to power. David noticed nothing. He thought Anna had accepted her place, quiet wife, silent shadow. In the evenings, he came home smelling of perfume that was not hers. He hummed songs as he showered. One night he even told her, "Anna, you should be more like Clara. She knows how to make a man feel alive." The words burned her, but she only lowered her head and whispered, "Yes, dear." Inside, though, she felt stronger than ever. David believed he was the hunter. He had no idea he was already inside the trap. On Friday morning, Anna woke early. She cleaned the house until the floors shone. She set the table with care. The white tablecloth stretched smooth. The candles stood tall. The plates gleamed. She cooked a meal that smelled rich and warm. Jollof rice, spicy chicken, fried plantain, and fresh salad. Anyone who walked in would think it was just a family dinner. But Anna knew better. Every fork, every spoon, every dish was part of her stage. Tonight, secrets would sit at the table like extra guests. At exactly 7 p.m., the doorbell rang. Anna wiped her hands and walked to the door. Clara stood there, dressed in a tight red gown, her lips painted bright. She looked Anna up and down as if she expected fear. But Anna only smiled warmly. "Clara, welcome," she said, opening the door wide. "Come in." Clara stepped inside, surprised by the calm tone. The smell of food filled the air. The house looked beautiful. It was not the battlefield she expected. "Where is David?" she asked. "Oh," Anna said smoothly, "he'll be here soon. Please sit." Clara sat, crossing her legs, clearly waiting for drama. But drama did not come. Only silence and the soft clink of plates. Minutes later, another knock echoed through the house. Anna's heart beat faster, but her face stayed calm. She opened the door, and there he was, Clara's husband. A tall man with tired eyes, dressed simply but neatly. He looked confused, his brows furrowed. "You must be Anna," he said softly. "Yes," she replied. "Thank you for coming." As he stepped inside, Clara froze at the table. Her lips parted, her face drained of color. "Darling," the man said, staring at her. "What are you doing here?" And at that very moment, the sound of a car pulling into the driveway told Anna that David had finally arrived. The table was complete. The game was about to begin. Clara's husband stood frozen by the door, staring at his wife in shock. His voice shook as he asked again, "What are you doing here, Clara?" Clara opened her mouth, but no words came out. She looked trapped, like a bird caught in a net. Anna stepped forward smoothly. "Please, sir, sit. Dinner is ready. We will all talk." The man's eyes moved from Anna to Clara, then to the table. He slowly walked inside and sat down. The silence in the room was heavy, each second like a drumbeat. Just then, the front door opened. David's cheerful voice filled the hallway. "Anna, I'm home. What smells so good?" He entered the dining room with a smile, but the smile froze when he saw the guests. His eyes darted from Clara to her husband, then to Anna. What is this?" he stammered. Anna's voice was calm, steady. "Dinner, dear. Please sit." David hesitated, but the weight of 3 pairs of eyes forced him into his chair. For the first time, the proud man looked small. The 4 of them sat around the table. The food steamed, but no one lifted a spoon. Only the sound of the clock filled the silence. Anna finally spoke. "We are here because lies do not stay hidden forever. Tonight, everything will come to light." David shifted in his seat. Clara stared at her plate. Her husband clenched his fists, his chest rising and falling with anger. Anna picked up her fork, calmly serving herself rice. "Please eat," she said. "There is no need to pretend. We are all family now, aren't we?" The words cut deeper than a knife. Clara tried to speak, but her voice broke. I didn't know she would." Her husband slammed his fist on the table. "Didn't know? Clara, how many nights did you sneak away? How many lies did you tell me? And for what? For him." He pointed at David. Clara's face burned with shame. She could not look at anyone. For the first time, she looked smaller than Anna. Anna sat back, watching quietly. She did not need to shout. The truth was speaking louder than she ever could. David tried to defend himself. "Now wait, this isn't what it looks like." Anna's calm laugh filled the room. "David, don't insult our intelligence. She is sitting here. Her husband is sitting here. And you're sitting here. What more proof do we need?" David's eyes darted around the table, but there was no escape. Clara's husband glared at him with pure hatred. Clara sat in shame. And Anna? She sat tall, her hands folded neatly, her face calm. For the first time in years, she was in control. The hunter had become the hunted. The room grew heavier with each passing second. The smell of the food lingered in the air, spicy rice, fried plantain, roasted chicken, but nobody touched their plates. It was as if the meal itself was mocking them, waiting to see who would break first. David leaned back in his chair, his chest rising and falling as though the air had suddenly grown too thick to breathe. His hands rubbed against his knees nervously, and for the first time Anna saw him as a man afraid. Clara's husband sat stiff, his jaw clenched tight. His eyes were locked on David, unblinking, sharp like knives. Clara shifted in her seat, her red dress now feeling like a spotlight, exposing her instead of flattering her. She pulled the edge of the tablecloth closer, as if to hide herself, but there was no hiding tonight. Anna sat quietly, her back straight, her eyes calm. She wanted this silence. She wanted the weight of truth to press on their necks. She had prepared this moment carefully, and she would not rush it. Finally, she broke the silence with a soft voice. "Eat. No one should leave this table hungry. There will be enough truth to go around." The words floated through the air like smoke, making everyone shift uncomfortably. David cleared his throat, his voice trembling though he tried to sound confident. "Look, let's not blow things out of proportion. Anna, you know how marriage can be. Sometimes men make mistakes." Clara's husband let out a bitter laugh. "Mistake? You call lying to your wife a mistake? You call sleeping with mine a mistake?" His fist slammed the table so hard the cutlery jumped. Clara flinched. Her painted lips trembled. "Please, let's not." "Don't speak," her husband barked, his voice slicing through the air. David raised his palms as if to calm the storm. "Please, let's all relax. I didn't mean for this to." Anna leaned forward slowly, her eyes burning into him. "Didn't mean for this to happen? David, you invited shame into my life, and you served it to me in public. Tonight, I am serving it back to you in your own home." David's face turned pale. He tried to laugh, but the sound was hollow. He was cornered, and he knew it. For the first time since she arrived, Clara found her voice. It came out shaky, weak, nothing like the proud woman who had walked in wearing red. "Anna, I didn't plan for this. David told me things. He said you didn't care for him anymore. He said you were only his wife by name. He said..." "Enough!" Clara's husband shouted, cutting her off. His eyes widened with disgust. "You believed him? That was enough for you to betray your vows, to destroy 2 homes." Clara broke down. Tears smeared her makeup, streaking her face. She bowed her head into her hands, sobbing quietly. Anna watched her, but she felt no pity. This was the same woman who smiled boldly while Anna was insulted at the restaurant. Now the mask had fallen. David shifted in his seat, clearly uncomfortable. His mistress, the one he thought would make him look powerful, now sat broken before everyone. Anna remained calm. Her silence was louder than any insult. Clara's husband stood suddenly, his chair scraping loudly against the floor. His hands shook as he pointed at David. "You," he growled. "You thought you were clever. You thought you could take what is mine and walk away clean. Look at her. Look at the shame you have dragged into my house, into my name." David tried to speak, but the man's voice grew louder. "Do you know how many years I stood by Clara? Do you know how much I trusted her? And you ruined it all." His fists trembled as though he wanted to strike David right there, but he held himself back, breathing hard. The room was thick with rage. Anna raised her hand calmly. "Please sit. Tonight is not about fists. Tonight is about truth." Her words cut through his anger, and slowly, the man sat again, though his eyes never left David. Anna finally rose from her seat. Her movements were slow, graceful, deliberate. All eyes turned to her as she placed her palms flat on the table. "For years," she said softly, "I gave this man everything. I stood beside him when he was nothing. I sacrificed my time, my youth, my peace, and what did he give me in return? Disrespect, betrayal, public humiliation." David shifted uneasily, his mouth opening, but no words coming out. Anna's eyes swept over Clara, broken and crying. Then to Clara's husband, seething with rage. Finally, she looked down at David. "Tonight, you see what kind of man you are. A liar, a coward, a husband who insults his wife while holding another woman's hand." The silence after her words was sharp, cutting everyone in the room. And then she sat back down, her face calm, her power clear. Anna had turned the table, not with noise, but with truth. David's face darkened. The confident man who once walked proudly into restaurants with his mistress now sat like a boy caught stealing food. He tried to speak, but his throat seemed to close up. "Anna, you don't understand," he muttered weakly. Anna tilted her head, her calm gaze fixed on him. "Don't I? I understood when you spoke to me like a servant in front of her. I understood when you spent nights away, smelling of another woman's perfume. I understood when you chose shame over loyalty." David's eyes dropped. He had no argument. For the first time in their marriage, the power had shifted fully into Anna's hands. Clara tried to lift her head, but shame weighed her down. Her husband's glare burned into her skin, and Anna's silence reminded her of her own guilt. I thought David loved me," Clara whispered through tears. "He said I was his happiness. He said he would leave Anna for me. I believed him." Her husband shook his head in disgust. "Leave her? For you? Look at the man you risked everything for. Does he even defend you now? Does he protect you? He hides behind lies." Clara sobbed harder. The red dress that once made her feel powerful now felt like chains. She had lost respect, love, and dignity in one night. Anna remained composed, her eyes never leaving Clara. In her heart, she knew the woman had built her happiness on another's pain. And tonight that house had fallen. The air grew heavier, as if the walls themselves were listening. Clara's husband leaned forward, his voice low and dangerous. "David, you destroyed my home. You disrespected my family. Look at my wife, look at your wife. 2 women broken because of your greed. Do you have nothing to say?" David swallowed hard. His lips parted, but no sound came out. His hands shook under the table. For years he had spoken loudly, boasting, mocking, belittling. But now, when it mattered most, he was silent. Anna's eyes narrowed. Of course he has nothing to say. Men like him are strong only when their wives are silent. Tonight, I will not be silent. Her words cut deep. David's shoulders slumped. He was no longer the man who insulted her in public. He was simply a coward exposed at his own dinner table. Anna stood again, her voice clear and steady. "I invited you all here for one reason. Not to fight, not to scream, but to show the truth. To strip away the lies that have been destroying us quietly. Now the masks are off. Everyone sees what has been hidden." She looked at David. "I will no longer waste my life with a man who cannot honor his vows." She turned to Clara. "You thought stealing another woman's husband would make you happy. Tonight, you have learned the cost of such a choice." Finally, she faced Clara's husband. "I am sorry you had to see this, but sometimes pain is the only doorway to truth." Her voice did not shake. Her eyes did not drop. In that moment, Anna was no longer a wife begging for respect. She was a woman standing in her full strength. The dinner ended not with shouting, but with silence. Clara's husband rose and walked out, his footsteps heavy with betrayal. Clara followed slowly, her once proud figure now bent with shame. David remained seated, staring at the untouched food, his world collapsing around him. The man who once thought he was untouchable had been reduced to nothing. Anna blew out the candles one by one. The soft smoke curled into the air, carrying away the last of her fear. She stacked the plates quietly, her hands steady. As she cleared the table, she felt lighter. For the first time in years, she was free. Free from his insults. Free from the lies. Free to start again. That night, Anna lay on her bed, staring at the ceiling. There were no tears, only peace. She had fought not with anger, but with wisdom. And wisdom had won.